right, Jennifer Allen, welcome to the Chundria Show. How are you today?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me on today.
Yes, you are doing good, and we're going to talk about how good you're doing and all the amazing work that you're doing in such a meaningful way. Let's start at the beginning. I'm curious of what inspired you to become a wedding officiant. I mean, you've had great success, but let's just go back to the history of Jennifer Allen and how this how did this company form?
Awesome. So back in 2010, my then boyfriend proposed, and which is now my husband. And so he proposed, and he was leaving for deployment. And so he had 5 days before he was leaving when he asked me to marry him. And about 3 days before he left, he said, you know, we should get married before I leave. And I'm like, why would we do that? And he said, because if something was to happen to me, you know, legally you are entitled to nothing. You know, you are just my, you know, girlfriend, or, you know, fiance, but that holds no weight. And so I immediately am like, well, what do you think is going to happen? So I'm like, why are we even talking about this? And so we decided, sure, let's get married. Well, I started scrambling, trying to start emailing vendors, trying to find people. No one was getting back to me. I'm trying to piece this together in such a short amount of time and explain, like, we only need this little window, somebody just for a small amount of time. And it just wasn't happening. So we were like, we're either going to have to go to Vegas or we're going to go to City Hall. And I did not want to go to City Hall. And honestly, we could not afford to go to Vegas. So I don't even know why I thought that was an option, because realistically, it was not an option. And we ended up at City Hall. And so we got married the day he left for deployment. And it was super sad. And I'm like, why in the world did I do this? And it was a Tuesday. The only people that were able to come was my mom and my 6-year-old niece. And that's who signed our marriage license. And he left. And while he was gone, I was supposed to start planning this over-the-top epic wedding. And I quickly realized that my definition of like beautiful and life-changing was very expensive. And our finances at the time just did not align with what I wanted for my vision. And it was really hard to justify the expense, because those rose-colored glasses were removed when you get engaged and you're planning and you're like, oh my God, we're going to get married. We're going to become what? We were already married. So I didn't have that same level of excitement. And long story short, he came home from deployment. We ended up having our first baby. When he was 10 months, we ended up getting pregnant with our second baby. And I'm still trying to like, oh, we can do something for lucky number 5. We can do that. And I'm like, girl, you have 2 kids in daycare. Let it go. And so I decided, you know what? In 2017, I said, I want to start a business where other couples, if they need to get married at the last minute, or they just want something small and they don't have to, you know, go to all these different vendors to figure out, you know, how to put something intimate together, I want to start that. And Just Elope was born in February of 2017. We married our first couple. And that first year, we married 8 couples that first year. And we are on our way to, I want to say if we're not at 600, we're just shy of that at this point.
Yeah. I was just about to ask how many couples you've married to date. And so 600 is absolutely impressive and dynamic for a company that you started in 2017. My goodness.
Yeah.
So out of all those ceremonies that you've performed, is there one that still makes you smile when you think about it?
It does. It does. I think that my top 2 are, we had a couple who they were young, they were in love, they didn't really have a lot, and it just reminded me of the 2 of us that they just wanted each other. They just wanted forever, and to be able to give them that, and for them to have the response of being like, you know, we would have just went to City Hall if this didn't, you know, if you didn't have this. And it just reminded me of like why we started. Every time somebody says that. The second wedding that always stands out to me is, I had a couple, and she was such a pleasure to work with, asking all the right questions, really laid back, super chill. And 2 days before her wedding, she calls me and she's like, oh, I forgot to tell you that my dad is going to walk me down the aisle. And I said, oh, okay, because the questionnaire that I send out is like, oh, are you being walked down the aisle by anybody? Are you having a bridal party? Because we do have like luxury packages. And so I like to be able to find people and call them by their name, you know. And so she's like, oh, I forgot to tell you that my dad is going to walk me down the aisle. So she's on my phone and she's on speakerphone. And so I said, okay, yeah. And I said, well, what is your dad's name? And she said, Jerry. And I said, okay, great, thank you. And so I write her name down. We go on about our business. And so I'm talking to my team. I'm like, hey, this is the wedding we have tomorrow, blah, 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 blah. And so my husband walks past the door and he was like, what's her last name? And I'm like, who? Because he never asks about like the individual like couples. He'll say, you know, do you have a wedding today or that sort of thing? And he said, what's her last name? And I said, it's Rice. And so he was like, and what's her dad's name? I said, Jerry. And he was like as in Jerry Rice, NFL Hall of Famer Jerry Rice? And I'm like, I guess, I don't know. Because I don't know, you know, anything about these people. Everybody is treated the exact same with the white glove service. Like, it doesn't matter who you are or what you spend. Like, you are treated as you should be. And so he was like, Google her. And I'm like, okay. He's like, Jennifer, that's Jerry Rice's daughter. And he's like, Jerry Rice is going to be at the wedding tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. We get there, and lo and behold, it's Jerry Rice. I'm like, that is crazy to me because it's just another example of we provided this service for people that it doesn't matter your social standing, your financial, you know, standing, that everybody's reasoning for wanting to have an elopement or micro wedding is different. For some people, it's financial. In their case, they were launching a brand new product, which is what we now know is Goat Fuel energy drink that you can buy at any 7-Eleven or anywhere else. And they just didn't have the time to plan a wedding. And she used every vendor that I recommended that is in our little welcome packet, from the dress to the makeup. I mean, literally just everybody down. And so it just was a firm reminder that it doesn't matter where people are, what they can afford. She could have had a over-the-top luxurious wedding. Her dad's a freaking millionaire, right? And so, but that wasn't what she wanted. And I often remind couples that this isn't anything that you should be ashamed of, that you eloped or had a micro wedding, because we make sure that it's beautiful.
And I think I think people need to hear that, you know, because that's an important caveat to say, like, just because it's a micro wedding doesn't mean it's a meaningful wedding or a memorable wedding or a beautiful wedding. People aren't going to have a good time. You're not going to cherish this day forever, you know. So It's like a apples to oranges kind of thing, you know. And I think a lot of people envision this grandiose thing, which I kind of blame, you know. I kind of blame 1920s advertising, you know.
Yes.
because they were trying to sell jewelry and all that, you know, back in the 20s, 30s, 40s, and so it was kind of like, you know, like even when they started things like how much a ring should cost, you know, it should be
3 months. Yeah. 3 months salary is what you should spend on a ring, is what they have told people, and that's kind of stuck with them. And I disagree with that. I think that your expectation, you should know what your partner can and cannot afford, right? And so if y'all are living paycheck to paycheck, how long would it take them to save up 3 months full salary to buy you a ring? You know, the ring I have now is not the ring my husband proposed to me with 15 years ago. I mean, I've been upgraded twice. That's life, right? Like, things, as you progress, you get more luxurious things if that's something that you want. And to kind of judge somebody for where they are in this moment because they don't spend 3 months salary on a ring. I always tell people I would never expect somebody to get something for me that I could not get for myself. Could I save 3 months salary to buy my husband his wedding ring? Could I save up 3 months salary to buy myself a ring? And what would that look like? So how can you judge somebody for something that you can't even do for yourself?
What I love about this story is because, yeah, I love the history of it. I love how, you know, you took a little bit of chaos from your own experience. You know, you had your doubts about a city hall wedding, but you were like, you know, you're more important. The reason behind this is more important than waiting, because the only alternative would have been to let them go without you, you know,
Right.
or to hold off, like I don't want to get married until, which speaks volumes about the relationship sometimes, and what you're conveying to your partner as well, you know. And I know it was an underwhelming experience that you have just taken and made from the moment you started planning and being real with yourself, but to grow a business out of it, I think it's just so impactful. I mean, you've interviewed. I mean, you've had a wedding. You had a client as Jerry Rice's own daughter, which is great. And I know you've had some other high-profile weddings as well. Netflix Love Is Blind, which I remember seeing you on there watching the show, and I'm like, I watched that, you know. And then,
that was fun.
You know, then DeBrad and Judy, and so it's just like you've had these. And what I love about you is that you treat everybody, like you said, everybody gets the white glove service. You know, everybody gets outstanding service. You're not going to get better service because you're high profile, or you're not going to get, you know, much poor service because you're not, you know.
Because I'm charging the same, you know, because I'm charging the same amount of money. That whole, because somebody's a celebrity, they don't do, I sent my invoice to Judy. She happily paid it. Her planner, Ellie, took care of it, who is amazing. Y'all have never had the opportunity to experience a wedding from Ellie, like, you are missing out wholeheartedly. But literally, everybody's the same to me because I charge everybody the exact same amount of money. I'm not upcharging you because you're a celebrity. I'm not giving you a discount because you're a celebrity. I'm not, you know, I feel like our pricing is definitely aligned with the experience that I have and that my team has, and that what we have to show for it, while still maintaining that, like, I don't want to say mom and pop shop, but being realistic to, okay, we always want to make sure that we have packages that no matter what, like, you could kind of figure this one out. Like, you can kind of afford this one, you know, no matter what. So we always want to keep a lower tier package for couples, so that no matter what, our services are accessible to everybody.
It sounds like you keep the ceremonies authentic to the couple. You know, so what's a day in the life like when you're meeting a new couple that's interested in your services, a planner that's interested in your services? You know, what are some of those details early on where how do you help them figure out if this is the move they should make?
So I sometimes have couples ask me, like, I want you to convince me that this is what I should do. And I always laugh because I'm like, absolutely not. Because getting married and having your wedding day is such a personal decision that if somebody needs to convince you to go a certain route, I can tell you all the reasons why this makes sense. If that's not what makes sense to you, it does not matter. However, after I explain my services to you, what we're going to provide, what we can do, our hundreds of 5-star reviews that we have on Google, here's my resume, here are all these galleries you can look at. If you decide that, yes, this is the best thing for me, I'm going to take care of you and treat you as if it was my own sister that was getting married. That's how much I'm going to hold your hand throughout this entire process. There is no question that's silly or off limits. You know, my couple's like, I hate to bother you. And I'm like, I have your money. You're not bothering me. Thank you. When I paid for my son's AAU basketball fees, I was happy then. I'm going to be happy to take your call now. And so that process though is, once we start, it's just, what can I do for you? You know, no matter how turnkey you make a package, people are always going to have questions, and it's just being available. And I tell my husband, I'm like, he's like, you're never in a bad mood, like when you talk to people or when you go to weddings. I'm like, because I keep that same energy that I had when they paid that invoice, right? So when somebody paid that invoice, you're like, ooh, yes, come on, I'm so happy about it. I keep that same energy, no matter if you call me. I have couples that I never talk to on the phone. They book their wedding. Everything is done through email, even text messages. We never, ever speak. I may have a couple who wants to call me every day. Every day. Miss Jennifer, every day. And I have that same energy every time I answer the phone. Hey, how's it going? Let's get it figured out. Oh, my sister, she says she not coming. My mother-in-law said that. You kind of become their like therapist throughout this situation, and you realize that no matter the size of the wedding, the emotions attached to it are still the same. The players, the characters that are a part of somebody's wedding day is still the same. And so I treat everybody with the discernment and discretion that they need, because it all evens out. For every couple that I never have to talk to and never wants to talk to me and just text and go, I have one that I'm like, and they're calling again. And we're gonna talk again, and that is okay.
Jennifer, can you talk to me about the trends? Because can you say, since you've been in the business now for almost 10 years now, can you say that the trends have changed? Are more people, or did that happen during COVID? Where are we at with the trends, and how have you seen them evolve since you started?
We launched in 2017, so of course we were able to establish ourselves pre-pandemic, right? However, COVID blew up elopements and micro weddings because people realized, well, they didn't have a choice, number one, and then they realized, I could still have something really nice and not have to pay all this money. But as things have kind of started to evolve post-COVID, it has become more of, even if you have a smaller guest count, people are having higher budgets. So it's not that the budget is being cut, it's the guest list to up the wow factor for the guests that are there. So we had a bride, she spent total, close to probably $75,000 for her wedding. And so I also, outside of me offering these turnkey packages where you could just pick a package, show up, we take care of everything, I also offered strictly wedding planning. And so for people that are planning luxury micro weddings, and hers was definitely luxurious. We had a horse and a violinist and dress changes and the DJ and world-class food and the venue and all of these things. And the 2K, it was just craziness. It was beautiful. And she had 54 guests.
Wow. That's a lot of time, energy, and resources. But
because she wanted that wow factor for the people that were there. That meant more to her. Being able to have all the things that she wanted meant having a smaller guest count, but that wow factor of what that experience was for everybody was there. And that is the trend that we're seeing. People are leaning more towards a personalized experience for their guests. Because what a lot of people don't understand is when you have a wedding, it's your day, but it is an experience for the people that are coming. And people are taking that to heart. Social media plays such a huge role in wanting these viral Instagrammable moments where it's, am I going to go viral for my wedding day and that sort of thing. And it's really up in the factor now.
I can't think of what movie that is, but I think it was like our wedding, our marriage, their wedding, like talking about the family.
So that is it for a lot of people. A lot of the couples that I meet, even for the packages that we offer, they'll say, if it wasn't for like the day evolves, it'll go from, hey Jennifer, we want to book your couple only package, which is the photographer and officiant. We have these beautiful curated outdoor locations, people to show up, get married, have a beautiful photo shoot, and they're done. To, okay, I know we booked that, but now my mom wants to be involved. Now my sister, now my cousin. So now we've gone from, this package that's $1,000, right? To now they're like, okay, well, now my mom's putting in money, my cousin's putting in money. We have $20,000. And that just blows my mind, because it's like, okay, well, let's spend the 19 and let's spend the 1 and you pocket the 19 and, get a house and do all these things. But, everybody, what they want for their life experience just changes.
We're still dealing with that societal pressure because you can know exactly what you want to do. We want something intimate. We want something just us, as a witness and call it a day. But I think people are still, well, not a lot of people, because clearly there's a boom for you and business is great. And I'm so excited about that. But before we close today, I have a couple of lightning round questions for you.
Let's go.
Okay, the first one's, what's your favorite wedding song to hear at a reception?
Ooh, that's a good one. You know what? I love the Cha-Cha Slide. I do.
You go do it, or you stand in the back and?
No, baby, I'm out there. The Cha-Cha Slide and back that thing up. Okay. I mean, you can't go wrong with those two.
Come on, Jennifer. Okay. Next one. If you could officiate a wedding anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Ooh, yes, the Maldives, over the water bungalow. Oh,
barefoot.
Take me right now. Yes, take me right now. Right now.
Last one. What's the sweetest or funniest vow you've heard a couple exchange?
Oh my goodness. So I had a lady, she wanted to make sure that she put into her vows that her husband had to create content with her, that she vowed to give him the remote every Sunday. He could watch football all day long. She vowed to root for whatever team he wanted to go with. As long as he vowed to always take good pictures of her, even if it meant he had to retake it 5 or 10 times. I'm like, okay, so clearly these are things that y'all have talked about. You want to make sure you got this in writing before we begin. But it was super sweet. They were the kindest people. So yeah, that was pretty fun.
That is so funny. I put spiders in mine. I can't even throw it. I was like,
oh my God, we had a spider in our garage the other day. It's called a rabbit, not like an animal, but a rabbit wolf spider.
Oh gosh.
And it's like a rabbit dog that has rabies, but it doesn't have rabies. It's just the way it moves and that sporadic. Google that when we get off of here, so that you can see
Jennifer,
how huge this spider was that was in our garage.
Jennifer, where do you live?
I live in Texas.
Okay, that sounds right.
Yes, I live in Texas, and I live on the outskirts of Dallas, and so we live in a rural area. Still a lot of construction going on, houses being built. The size of, I'm not kidding, this spider was so big that I wanted to move out.
Yeah.
Take the house.
I wanted to move out for much smaller, so I can't even imagine what you
take the house.
The species and
it's too much. I am blessed to be the only girl in my house, and so I have 3 sons.
Oh,
and so
you're good.
And so,
you got a team. You got the spider patrol on deck.
I'm like, you know what? I step up and do a lot of things, but I pull the girl card whenever I need to. Hey, sure. I'm just a girl. I need y'all to get that.
I'm with you 1,000%. Absolutely, yes. Jennifer Allen, it has been a pleasure chatting with you this morning. I'm so proud of you and the success of your business, Just Elope. If anybody's interested in a consultation, hitting the book button today, or inviting you to speak or share ideas, insights on this amazing wedding industry, what's the best way to connect with you?
JustElope.com.